Good evening, Edward. Can you all hear me? Confirm?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, nice. So, welcome to another episode today. Not a long session actually today because we have our seminar tomorrow, right? Our final seminar from 8:30 to 2:30, 3 o'clock maybe. And we have this for 2 days, right? Tomorrow and the day after. And we will be doing a lot of work in terms of revising and focusing on our target questions in this seminar. We will discuss more about it tomorrow morning. There are about 20 students joining from outside as well. Okay, and so I believe everybody is doing great. Your health is good. You are well prepared. Just a little more than 2 weeks to go, right? You're feeling the heat. I know this. And right now, your focus must be on on staying composed. You know what I mean? Like, during a situation like this, the person who can stay composed, I mean, relaxing while under pressure, relaxing and focusing while under pressure. This is called staying composed without panicking, right? So if you don't panic, staying composed, this is how you can get maximum results. Okay, if you panic and if you feel like overwhelmed, you are going to lose your mind, then you will not be able to get maximum results out of you. Okay, so it's very important to have it's very important to focus these 2 weeks on staying composed, focused, and prioritizing your work. Okay, so this is one of the main messages I wanted to give you today. And staying composed is the key because, like, let's say, for example, let's say you are running a race or you are same thing, right? You are facing an exam. Everything is expecting an output from you. Some outputs are physical, like you are engaging in a sport. Some outputs are mental, like you are writing in an exam. Both things, anything, to get maximum performance out of a human being, staying focused or staying composed is very important, because not panicking the last moment, not being anxious in the last moment, nervousness, these are all very common qualities or common feelings of human beings. Okay, and the thing here is, like, you should not be looking to do what you didn't do for 2 years right now. Okay, like, just imagine, you didn't do for 2 years what you didn't do for 2 years cannot be done in 1 week. Okay, this needs to be understood very well. Okay, you cannot do it now, it's too late. So stop worrying about what you didn't do, because you are not going to cover what you didn't cover for 2 years in 2 weeks. That's never going to happen. Nobody ever did it. Okay, that is why there's an O level syllabus for 2 years, right? Otherwise, they can do it in 2 months, right? They could have done it in 2 months. No, you cannot do it in 2 months. You have 9 subjects and you have been taught for 2 years. And you cannot do that in 2 weeks. You need to be realistic here. You need to face the reality here. Okay, so come back to reality. And what you can do right now is staying composed and focus on your mental focus, like exam preparation. This is something that can give you more results than you expect sometimes. Some things you might have heard being taught in classes, and you might remember them during the exam if you stay composed. Anyway, our students will face the exam very well, especially when it comes to history. I know this. Our class will echo in your ears because we have done our part. Okay, just a little bit of part. This is actually, I'm doing this seminar. It's also like, to make you happy mainly, and also to help the other outsiders who couldn't be part of our class. Actually, without even the seminars, we have done our work. You thank me later. Okay, you will thank me later. Anyway, but during the exam, the class is gonna echo in your ears. This is what has happened for the past three batches. This is what's gonna happen this year as well. Okay, I can guarantee you that. Okay, because we have done all the work, right? And today also, I didn't want to do a class. Today, I wanted to take a break. Plus, I wanted you to go to bed early so that we have 2 long days tomorrow and day after to focus on history once and for good. And then we can have another class next week. a friendly one, friendly session, random stuff, discussing some map marking stuff and things like that. So today we will do a couple of places, additional places in map marking. Plus, we will focus on some questions from minute number 7. Okay, we couldn't do a lot last week, so we will focus on some today. So that is the plan. So we have done our work today. We have covered the full syllabus. We have done our map marking seminar. We have marked more than 180 places in our map marking seminar. 12 out of that, 17 out of that, at least 16 or 17 are going to come in your exam that we discussed. 14 you're gonna score minimum. I know this. 100%, yeah, if you attended the seminars and went through the recordings and did the work and we checked your work. We have worked so hard, okay, for the past when you are talking about this revision and paper class, for the past 6 7 months we have, for the past 6 months we can say, yeah, we have worked so much. Okay, we have done a lot of work, right? We have covered everything, and we have done two MCQ papers. Okay, you might have noticed we did two full MCQ papers, all target questions, all serious questions that tested your knowledge to the limits, pushed you to the limits. We will also discuss another target paper tomorrow, some questions, selected questions from two papers tomorrow and day after. And we couldn't discuss the full paper that we did in January, but we will do that in seminar. I was keeping that for seminars anyway. And we did two target papers, and we did a lot of work. We did a very decent amount of work. You will realize that when you are facing the exam, because you're going to smile at the paper. Okay, this is what's going to happen, right? So more things about the exam preparation and everything, the procedures and everything we will discuss during our seminar, and also on our final session that we're going to hold, maybe, yeah, it's going to be on 7th, right? Yeah, 7th, and hopefully on 9th a small session as well. If you need any additional help, let me know. Ask in the group if you need anything to be covered, anything like that. If you have any special requests, the group is open to you. And right now, your focus must be staying composed, relaxing, and focusing on what is left. Like 2 weeks to go, focus on what is really important and focus on those areas in particular subjects, your weak areas. You must not be focused on covering full syllabuses right now. Right now, you should play the game smart because the time availability is very limited. You cannot, like I said, you cannot do what you didn't do for 2 years in 2 weeks. You cannot achieve that. Nobody, no matter what, no matter if you even study 24 hours a day, you cannot do what you didn't do for 2 years. Okay, so stop worrying about what you didn't do. Focus on what you have already done. You have done a lot of work. Focus on that and try to get the maximum output from what you have done so far. Okay, you have done a lot of work, so let's focus on the positive side of it. Okay, right. So having said that, good to see 42 students in the class today. Yeah, amazing, always, right? And I could have started the class at 8 today, but actually I had a small um, urgent work, so that's why we started the class late, because it's a month end. So yeah, I had some additional stuff to do. Yeah, work is like this. Okay, some, or not all days are relaxing. Okay, all right. So let's get started, Bude. One thing I want to tell you, that is, I have a lot of experience. You know this. I have experience in life. I have experience in exams, teaching, everything, right? So I want to share something with you. That is, sometimes we there's something called getting complacent. Okay, complacency means thinking that you know everything. You know everything and nothing can go wrong. Everything is perfect because you know everything, you are experienced. This is called being complacent. Okay, so I don't want to be complacent. I'm not a guy who likes to be complacent. I don't want to take any chances. For the past 2 years, we had questions coming from minute number 7, grade 11. This is what we did last week. This is what we revised last week. For the past 2 years, 2023, 2022. So this year, a 90% chance is that it will not come, because 3 years continuously, chances are very low for those questions from unit number 7 to come again. But this is what maybe the guys who are making the paper are also thinking. they will not expect and we are going to give this time. They will skip this unit and we are going to give this time. So I don't want to take that chance. Okay, I leave nothing to chance. So let's do it. Let's do some questions. Maybe the same question might also repeat this year. Okay, this same question that you see on screen. Okay, this same thing can be photocopied and come as well. This has happened in singular literature paper, for example. uh, History paper very rare, but maybe this is the first time that is going to happen as well. Okay, I don't want to take any chances. Let's do this so that we are fully confident. And also, if there's no question from unit number 7 in your second paper, there will be 2 to 3 MCQs. If there's no written question, there will be 2 to 3 MCQs in your MCQ paper. So either way, we can win because we are gonna score 3-4 marks easily from this unit. Okay, so let's put an end to this whole syllabus and all the units. Okay, all right. So let's get started. I will give the opportunity to you. Okay, let's see how well you have absorbed the lesson. Okay, write 3 European countries. This question I have seen repeating several times. Maybe it can come this time as well. Write 3 European countries which established colonies in the continent of America. 3 European countries, please. Come on.
Spain, France, Britain.
Very good. Spain, France. Now
Britain.
here they are asking countries. Okay. So we will write the countries. Don't write Spanish, French. They are nations. If they're asking nations, you can write Spanish also. You can write Spain also. It's okay. But here they are specifically asking countries. So let's write the names of the countries. Right. Okay. Now here this one we repeatedly discussed a few times last week as well. What is the slogan of the American War of Independence? And what is the slogan of Russian Revolution? I specifically highlighted those two slogans in the last week's session. And additionally, I will tell you one more thing here that you should remember. Okay. What is the slogan of the American War of Independence? Anybody?
No member, no tax.
Exactly. No member, no tax. That was the slogan of the protests. When they protested against the British, they said no member, no tax. We don't have any member in your parliament. Americans are saying this. Okay. Americans said, dear British, we don't have any member in your parliament, so we are not supposed to follow your orders. We should be independent. Okay. So we need independence. This is the slogan of the American War of Independence. What about the Russian Revolution? What was the slogan of the Russian Revolution?
Peace, land, food.
Peace, land, and food. Exactly. Peace for soldiers, lands for farmers, food for everybody. This is what Russia was lacking. Russia did not have peace because it was engaged in World War #1, a very difficult war to win with the Germans on the German front. And then there was no land for farmers. You know, the feudal society basically took away all the lands from the farmers, and farmers did not enjoy any lands to freely do the agriculture, or they were charged high taxes for using those lands. They did not own any proper lands, and there was no food for anybody. There was a huge food shortage in Russia because, you know, all the farmers and all the workers had to go to the war, were forced to fight in the war, and there were no experienced farmers to take care of agriculture. So that resulted in a huge food crisis or food shortage. So everybody wanted food, literally, including the soldiers. Okay, everybody, human being, you need food to live, right? So that is why the Russians had to take to the streets. They were not even disturbed by the soldiers. The soldiers also kind of supported the protests, and that is how the Russian Revolution played out. Okay, right. Then we come to the essay questions. Describe 2 reasons which led to the outbreak of the American War of Independence. This we discussed last week as well, if I remember. And we will go through this once again briefly. And then we have another thing. Explain 3 reasons which led to the outbreak of the Russian Revolution. So this is a little tricky here because, you know, if you for this I want you to read the book a little bit. I want you to go to the applicable page in the book because there's a lot of information kind of messed up in the book. Okay, so you got to extract your points from that. You got to be a little smart here. Okay, sometimes, you know, in O levels You are expected to be a little smart, right? To play the game a little smart. Okay. So like the reasons are all in a few paragraphs, but you got to extract them and line them up under three nice topics. This is the challenge. Before that, let's discuss verbally what were the two reasons that led to the outbreak of the American War of Independence. We didn't describe last week. I remember we wrote a few. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we can describe some points now. Tell me one reason that led to the outbreak of the American War of Independence. Anybody? One reason? Why there was an American Revolution? Why there was a revolution in America? Or why why the Americans wanted independence? With it?
Taxes being imposed.
Yeah, new taxes and acts imposed by the British. The British imposed several taxes on the Americans. Several acts were passed in the British Parliament that basically made the Americans pay a huge amount of money as tax. Some of those taxes were through the Sugar Act, the Stamp Act, and the Currency Note Act. Yes, so you can explain that in one paragraph. Under the Sugar Act, the Americans could only purchase sugar from Britain. If not, they had to pay a huge tax, okay, which was not practical. And under the Stamp Act, Americans had to pay a tax or a fee for all the government documents or written medium, okay, or printed medium. So those papers had to be endorsed or embossed with seals that gave them validity. So people had to pay a tax for the to the British government, because of that, right? Like people struggle to pay those taxes, and that is how the people got really angry on the British government. Then there was another act called the Currency Note Act. Under this Currency Note Act, the British said the Americans, you cannot use your currency, because American states, they had their own currencies, okay, before this US dollar was invented. Different states had different currencies. Some used the British currencies or all British currencies. These were used. Then the British said, no, if you want to buy something from us, pay in sterling pounds, pay in pounds, okay, pay in our currency. You cannot use your currency to pay, because your currency doesn't have value. So we are not taking or accepting your currency. So you cannot print currency as you wish and use that for trade between Britain and US or America. So the Americans were forced now to a corner, kind of like, they cannot use their currency. What they would do, they don't have money as well. So it was a huge challenge for the Americans. So because of to find the money, to find the British money to pay the British products. So these things, basically made Americans very angry on the British administration, and that is how they started their campaign for independence. Okay, that is one reason. You can explain that nicely. And there was another reason. There were several reasons, so we discussed another reason. Okay, a very strong reason as well. Who can remember that? Yeah. Yes. Say again. Somebody.
Policy that was followed by the British.
What are the reasons? I'm sorry. Say again. The British. Okay. Another very strong reason is the attempts by the British government to suppress protests or reasonable struggles of Americans. When Americans protested, the British soldiers would fire at them. Or when Americans protested, the British would even retaliate by putting more levies or more taxes on them. So these kind of things agitated the Americans. These kind of things basically, kind of like push the Americans to a level or to a point that they wanted independence from Britain. One such example for this is the Boston Massacre. Okay, during the Boston Massacre, the British soldiers opened fire at the American protesters. So 5 American protesters died in this. Okay, this is called the Boston Massacre, right? And then acts like this, so many protests happened, and then the British either arrested those protesters or fired at them, killing innocent civilians. Okay, they were not armed protests, they were not like armed struggles, they were reasonable protests against the Sugar Act, protests against the Stamp Act, protests against new government regulations or new economic restrictions put on the Americans by the British. These were very reasonable struggles. Okay, සාධාරණ සටන් කියලා කියන්නේ, yeah, in Sinhala සාධාරණ කරුණු, right? සාධාරණ උද්ඝෝෂණ, yeah, or protests. So සාධාරණ කරනවා කියන්නේ like අසාධාරණ නෙවෙයි. You are not asking something that the British government cannot give. You are basically fighting for your freedom, or you are basically fighting for something that is putting some heavy burden on you. Okay, because you cannot survive with the amount of taxes and amount of rules and regulations imposed on you by the British. That is why you protest. When you go protest out without listening to what you have to say, you are being fired upon, you are being shot and killed. So these kind of things basically agitated the Americans even more, and they were like fed up with the British government. That is why they wanted independence. So those two are very strong reasons. Like I said, remember the 2 reasons. Additionally, you can also remember the British economic policy towards Americans were more benefiting the British than the Americans. So that is a little weak reason, I would say. We don't have a lot to write under that. But the two I just mentioned, the first one was the introduction of various taxes and acts, to the Americans. And then the second one is the British attempts to suppress reasonable struggles of the Americans, reasonable protests by the Americans. So those two things can be explained very well. You can go to that 5 marks easily. Okay, right. Then I want you all to read page number 122 and try to come up. I will give you 5 minutes. Try to come up with 3 topics for question number 4. Explain 3 reasons which led to the outbreak of Russian Revolution. Now, why am I telling you this? If there's a question from this unit this time, they might say write 2 reasons for the Russian Revolution. Okay, this question might be this one without explaining. Okay, so there's a possibility like that as well. Possibilities, probabilities, probability. You learn this, no? Probability. Yeah, you have a little bit of probability in your maths syllabus, I believe. So there's a probability. There's a 50% possibility or probability that this might come as a question, this disguised as a question like this. You don't have to explain this, but write 2 reasons for the Russian Revolution. It can be a question. Okay, so be ready for that. And we will first extract 3 solid reasons for the Russian Revolution. What are the 3 solid reasons? You read page number 122 and 123 a little bit in your book and try to extract 3 topics. Come up with 3 topics, 5 to 7 minutes now. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. part in your English paper as well, right? Yeah. Let's see. Anyway, comprehending and coming up with good topics. Let's see who can do this. Tell me one reason. Have you read page number 122 and 123? And can you come up with 3 solid topics as reasons for the Russian Revolution? Because there's no topics here, right? There's everything, like, in a few paragraphs. This is the craziness of the book, right? Sometimes, I mean, you can't expect spoon feeding, right? You are in O levels. So like I said, history, I mean, I told this in the parents meeting as well. So history in your O levels is the foundation for university education. Okay. So in the university, when you go to the university, you have to do your assignments and everything. Nobody will tell you anything. Okay, how to do it and everything. Nobody will tell you. You have to do it alone. Right? They will not tell you, okay, you have to write paragraphs like this. Nothing will be taught. They'll just give you a topic. They'll just tell you, write 2000 words about this. You got to arrange your topics and everything and write about it. And they will grade it after that. So you got to be very smart. This is where we teach you. This is the start for that. Okay, essay type questions in your O levels. This is gonna help you in your university, not your other subjects. Okay, trust me. Yeah, not really. Okay, tell me topics. Anybody came up with topics? I got some topics in my inbox. I'm not happy with those, to be honest. They look very basic. They are very short. All the topics that I have in my inbox. Let me be very honest. They look very basic and very short. I want some meaningful topics. Anybody came up with something verbally? Tell me.
The people being forced to serve World War I in Russia, leaving no one to
Okay.
produce food.
Good reason. All right. Good reason. Have you read the book, Pute? 122. What it says first? Tell me the first paragraph and the second paragraph, what you can learn from those two paragraphs. It says about a ruling monarchy in Russia, right? Called which dynasty?
Tsar dynasty.
The Tsar dynasty. For example, the Tsar ruler who was ruling Russia during World War #1, during this Russian Revolution, was Tsar Nicholas II or Nikolai II. Okay, so like Tsar Nicholas is a very popular king. He was the last ruler from the Tsar dynasty to rule Russia, last Tsar emperor, Tsar Nicholas II. His name is not mentioned in your book, but I'm just telling you for your knowledge. So basically, his ruling or his corrupted and dictatorship ruling, meaning that he doesn't listen to anybody, but he thought, or the Tsars thought, the Tsar dynasty thought that the God appointed them to the kingship of Russia, and they can do whatever they want because the God gave them the authority to do it. Okay, this is what they were thinking. Plus the aristocrats. Okay, the aristocrats followed a feudal system where they owned the lands and charged heavy taxes from the farmers. Okay, for using those lands and everything, right? So those two things can be highlighted in the first point, right? The corrupted and oppressive ruling by the Tsars and the aristocrats. Okay, so that is a very heavy and very strong topic. So you can talk a few points under this. You can get those points from the paragraphs as well. Like I mentioned a couple of points here. You can build on that. Okay, so that is one topic. I'm going to write it. The Tsar dynasties oppressive ruling and corrupted administration. So under corrupted administration, you can talk about the aristocrats who were given the authority to charge high taxes from the farmers, and basically, there were laborers, there were middle class people, but they were a minority. But the wide majority of the people were farmers who got oppressed because of the policies by the Tsar dynasty. And when people protested, those protests were also crushed with an iron fist by the Tsar dynasty's actions. So this is one of the main reasons for the Russian Revolution. So here we go, one reason done. You can explain this one. And the next one, tell me another reason you found. One Puta had a good start. Yes, he was telling about a war. Yeah, what is it? Yeah. The second reason is that. Okay. What is that? Yeah.
World War One.
Yeah. So World War One, right? So here we can, when we are talking about the wars that Russia engaged in, we have two wars here. The first war Russia lost to Japan in 1904, 1905. That was kind of the starting of the sentiment of people towards war and destruction, and then that basically paved that basically we can say formed the foundation for Russian Revolution. On top of that, like adding insult to injury or adding fuel to the fire, as we call it, Russia got engaged in World War Number One. Russia participated in World War Number One, which brought a lot of destruction, including a food shortage. So this is one of the main reasons as well. Okay, so we will write it like this: Russia involving World War Number One. Okay, we made the topic a little strong here. Russia having no peace by involving in World War Number One and also losing the war to Japan earlier. No need to write the years, okay? Just put it like this. No need to remember the years like 1904, 1905. No need. Okay, just write it like this. Okay. So here what I did, I played the game a little smart. I manipulated the guy who's basically marking my paper, I would say. So you got to think a little smart like this. But always make sure that when you are extending your topics or when you are adding something to the topics, make sure that the meaning doesn't get disturbed. Okay, always read your topics again. Always read your topics again and look on ways to improve it. Okay, whether you can add something to that. If you felt like you didn't do a good job, just strike through the topic, just forget the topic. In one line you can strike through the topic, take a ruler with you for this, and then go about the other topic, go about a better topic. Okay, so this is something you can really focus on. So Russia having no peace, see the topic itself will give you 1 mark. Puthe, when the person reads the topic, he can see that he can definitely give you 1 mark because it gives a full meaning. You don't even need to explain now. Okay, because it's like a big start here. Okay, it's like the substance is there here. Okay, so when you read it, you understand what I'm saying, right? Basically, that is itself a point here, very valid point here that I'm trying to make by writing a proper topic. So don't write these basic topics like grade 4 kids. Grade 4 kids, just go and see grade 4 kids essays. They have this basic topic, 3 words, 4 words topics. But write a nice topic like this, okay, which has a solid meaning, which has substance in it. Okay, always try to do a good job. So Russia having no peace um, by involving in World War Number One and also losing the war to Japan earlier. So this one you can explain very nice. Russia lost the war to Japan. Basically, people started protesting after that uh, because of Russia's actions. But those protests were not considered, or like let's say those protests were not listened to properly by the Tsar administration. On top of that, additionally, the Tsar administration also decided to engage in involve in World War Number One, which brought about a lot of destruction to Russia, and also many Russians were forced to fight in this war, including the farmers and the laborers. So the result was a huge food shortage. You can end it that way. Okay. And the third one, you took a start to the third one already by mentioning a food shortage. So that is another main reason. Okay. Russia experiencing a huge food shortage. Okay, so you can still improve this topic, but I choose not to because I already because adding something to this I don't think makes the meaning better. So I will keep it like that. Okay, right. Even though it looks simple, it has a full meaning. So making things complicated also doesn't help sometimes. I can still extend it by adding some points to this, but I choose not to. Okay, so sometimes you got to back off, right? Okay, right, because always you are tempting to do something, but sometimes it is not required. Okay, this is a situation like that. So whatever we do, everything doesn't apply everywhere, right? So sir, we have to play the game smart. Okay, just for the sake of it, we don't do things, right? So here you can explain about like you can start by telling that you can extend the previous version of your points. Basically, there was a huge shortage of food, and there were no farmers to take care of the food production because they were engaged in war, and a lot of them got killed. And also, the price of bread, for example, went up to an unbearable level. So, people, even including the soldiers, had to take to the streets to protest to protest against the food shortage that Russia was experiencing. Not a lot of things to write about this, but put it in a nice way, like 3 sentences, and that's it. You're gonna get your marks. You're gonna get your 6 marks. 3 sentences each under one topic. That's it. That's all you need. Everybody got it? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Okay, Christine, your first topic can be improved, like I said. Second topic doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? It's not a reason, right? How do you logically explain a reason? Russia lost the war against Japan. You can add World War number one to that, like I mentioned. Okay, yeah. Other answers can improve. Okay, yeah, right. Okay, right. All right. So, anything else? Anybody have any questions? Shall we move on to some other questions? Right. Okay. We got 2022 paper
Excuse me, sir.
here. Yes, Bude.
Can you explain the current act again? Currency act again?
Currency Note Act. Basically, the Currency Note Act is a law passed by the British Parliament forcing the American states to use the British currency to pay for their imports. The Americans had their own currencies. Okay, so this new act restricted the Americans from printing or using their currencies to pay their bills or pay for their imports. So this basically restricted the Americans from using their currency and all. The logic was the British did not like to get paid from the American currencies which were depreciating or which were not strong. For example, like we, if you are, for example, let me tell you, when I came to Maldives, okay, when I got a job here, my first question was, am I getting paid in US dollars? My salary should be in US dollars. This is what I need because Maldivian currency doesn't have value. Maldivian currency, I can use it here for my food and stuff, but to send it home, it's depreciated because I cannot get a lot of dollars using that cash because I had to pay more cash to convert that into dollars. So my first question was, am I getting paid in dollars? They said yes. Then okay, no questions asked. Okay, because dollar is a strong currency. Okay, US dollar, and other currencies are weak. So similarly, for the British, their currency was strong, and the American currencies which were used by states, different currencies were weak. So the British decided, okay, we are not accepting your currency. Like you cannot print notes as you wish, or you cannot pay by your notes. we will only accept our currency. If you are paying by our currency, we will accept it. Okay. So that is the Currency Note Act that basically put huge pressure on the Americans because they could not pay for their imports. They had to find the British currency, okay, looking for British currency, and that's crazy, you know, that's difficult because Americans did not have a lot of export income, for example, okay. So Americans were struggling to pay their imports because of this act, right?
Thank you, sir.
Right. So the Russian Revolution is both the revolutions, okay, like the March Revolution and the October Revolution. Who was the leader who led the March Revolution? Anybody? Who's the leader who came to power after the March Revolution in Russia?
Kerensky.
Kerensky, very good. Yes, Kerensky. So October Revolution, who was the leader in the October Revolution?
V.I. Lenin.
Lenin.
V.I. Lenin. What is the political party that he founded?
Bolshevik.
Bolshevik party. Yeah, exactly. So both the revolutions are Russian Revolution. Okay, when you are talking about reasons, you have to talk the reasons before these two revolutions. Both the revolutions are like one, okay, like one in the sense they are the same revolution that happened in two stages. One stage, the first stage was a failure. Kerensky's government failed, so V.I. Lenin captured power in October same year. Okay, right. So you need to understand that. So when you are talking about reasons, we are talking about reasons for both together. Okay, yeah. So if they're asking you what is the reason for the October Revolution, then you can say include Kerensky's government failed and then they got a blah blah. But they won't. They won't ask questions like that. They will ask what are the reasons for the Russian Revolution. Okay, as a whole, because Russian Revolution, there are no two revolutions. There's one revolution in two parts. That's it. Okay, so you got to be a little smart here. Right. Okay, so here we have another question. Nice question. I like this. Name 3 colonies established by the British in North America. Anybody? You remember?
New York, North Carolina.
New York, North Carolina. Very good. One
South
more.
Carolina.
Easy, huh? Yeah, I told you. What is the first one if you can remember? Out of the 13?
Virginia,
Virginia.
Virginia. Very good. Virginia. What is the last one if you can remember?
Georgia.
Georgia. So in the middle you have New York, New Jersey, South Carolina, North Carolina, New Hampshire. We have a lot of places like that, like 13. You can remember a few, like I said, okay, last week. Right. Write 2 reasons which led the Europeans to establish colonies in America. We discussed this. You know, the Europeans wanted to have more colonies and expand their trade and to find new markets. That is one reason. And also religious freedom is another reason. Europeans wanting to have more religious freedom because there were fights between the Protestants and the Roman Catholics in Europe. So they were looking for new places where they can practice their religion freely. Okay, so that is another reason. Okay, so this we did, and then this one also we did. Okay, so we will go look for other questions here. Go little to kind of old papers, a couple of questions. Can you see 2018 paper on screen?
Yes.
2018, yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I feel like there will be like 3 MCQs from this unit this year. I don't rule out the possibility for a full essay type question, but yeah, you never know. You cannot read their minds, but if not, there will be like 3 questions, MCQs from this unit. Okay, so be ready for that. If you are not ready for essay type questions, be ready for some MCQs. Okay, right. I think, okay. We got one question here, it's easy. You know, this is like the French Revolution did not have a motto, but it had a very significant event. That is the oath that the French people took in a tennis court, right? So this is basically the answer here, the French Revolution. What is the historical incident which led to the oaths in the tennis court and the state's general council? State General Council was basically a council in France that had not been gathered for more than 175 years, and that solved the common people's problems. And this is related to the French Revolution. Okay, oath in the tennis court. Yeah, this is an oath that normal people or general public took not to dismiss unless a new constitution was introduced to France. Okay, this is a very strong oath that the people took. This ended in the revolution itself. Okay, right. So if somebody is asking you like what is the first, what is the key event, what is the starting event of French Revolution, what are you going to say? Starting event of French Revolution, how it all started?
Bastille prison.
Yeah, Bastille prison attack. So the public or the rebels decided to storm the Bastille prison, where where King Louis the 16th had jailed all his opponents and free them. Okay, free them. So they freed them. They freed the political prisoners who were jailed in the Bastille prison. That is how the French Revolution started. And the American Revolution, what is the key event, or what is the starting event of the American Revolution?
Boston Tea Party.
Boston Tea Party. The Americans deciding to go board a ship full of tea which had arrived from Britain, and they disguised themselves, boarded the ship in the Boston harbor, spilled all the tea of that ship to the sea. That is what we call the Boston Tea Party. That is out of anger for the British economic policies on the Americans. Okay, right. All right. So I think that's enough from this lesson. We have discussed so many things, and you know what to do now, right? And I will see you. You have any questions? You have any requests? Please ask. And map marking, some additional places we will do during the seminar, some, and we will see next week. We will see with a 3-hour session next week, where we're going to do some random stuff, targeted areas in the class next week. This class will be held next week for one last time. Extra class will decide based on the outcome of the last class. And I hope to see you in the seminar tomorrow and day after from 8:30 to 2:30. Be on time. Seminars are recorded anyway, but there will be very important things discussed in the seminar. I have also made a short note for you all, covering a few lessons. I don't like to write short notes for you. Short notes is something that students should do, because you cannot learn so much from reading another person's short notes. That is what I follow. That is my ethics. But due to many requests, due to some students still needing spoon feeding, I had to do it for a few lessons. I will give you that in the seminar. Okay, right. Some students still want spoon feeding. Okay, they are not happy with us feeding them also. They want us to open their mouth as well, just like that. Yeah? Just like that. They need help in opening their mouth as well, like they're in a coma. So what to do, right? Our guys, they never learn, what to do. I had to. Otherwise, they will point the finger at me, right? So you didn't give us short notes, so that's why we failed the exam. Nobody's gonna fail anyway. All right. Any questions? What is the difference between describe and explain? You tell me. Both same. Okay. Yeah. Explaining is like little more logical, I would say. Describing is more like facts. You are telling the facts. Describing is like telling. Explaining is like you are you are reiterating, you are convincing. Okay, that is the difference. But you can write both the things in the same fashion. This is O levels, this is not your university, so it's fine. It's okay. Don't think too much about it. Okay, sometimes you think too much and you miss the simple stuff. Yeah, sometimes you overthink, right? You are thinking like you are for example, I remember there was a electronics engineer. Okay, electronics engineer, right? Very experienced engineer. So he was trying to fix the solar panel on his roof, and he got electrocuted and he died. Okay, overthinking. Yeah, sometimes like overthinking, and he could not simply understand the concept of the solar panel and how much electricity it can generate and what can happen. He simply he could fix planes. He could fix so many problems in so many complex circuitry, but he could not understand a simple concept of what a solar panel can do to your body. If on a sunny day, how much voltage it produces, how much current can pass through your body. Simple things can be missed if you think too much. So think according to what you need to think. Okay, yeah, don't think too much for O levels. Okay, but you have to be smart. You have to think when you have to think, but overthinking is a problem. Okay, we will discuss target paper. Look, our target tomorrow. I will tell you when the seminar starts. Okay, right. Any questions? Any other questions for tomorrow or anything I can help you with? Yeah. Anything? Any other areas you have? Any particular questions you have from any unit? Or any requests you have to cover a certain area of any unit? Anything? Put a chat. I am excited for tomorrow's session. Of course, you are excited to all our sessions, and you will be super excited for the exam. History, third day, 19th March is the day. Okay. Right. We will discuss some questions tomorrow from the target paper as well. Yeah. But tomorrow we will mostly focus on some important theory parts from different lessons. And we'll see how it goes. Okay. Yeah. I will give you a little more short notes in the coming week as well, so you can refer to it before your exam day. I will continue to help you. Okay. I have made like 6-7 units of short notes. I didn't make everything because I wasn't planning to anyway. I don't want to give you everything. You got to do your hard work as well. This is what I believe in, right? Too much, sometimes giving too much also doesn't give you enough results. වැඩිපුර කරාමත් result එක එන්නේ නැහැ. ඕනවට වැඩියෙන් කරන්නත් හොඳ නැහැ. You got to do to the limit and the rest is on you. I'm a bit afraid about the essay type questions. First of all, you got to cool down. Okay, you got to cool down. When you see the essay question, don't panic. Take 2-3 minutes to plan your writing. Okay, so what you can do is, if you feel like panicking when you see essay type questions, if you feel scared, nervous, you take a blank paper. Okay, you can attach that blank paper also in your this one, or you take a pencil and you take the paper, you take your second paper. Okay, and on a side you can do some brainstorming. What is brainstorming? When let's say Russian Revolution, okay, it says Russian Revolution, for example, today's example we'll take. Okay, yeah, Russian Revolution. So when you are talking about Russian Revolution, write everything that comes into your head about Russian Revolution. Write everything. Okay, V.I. Lenin comes into your head, Kerensky comes, the Tsar dynasty comes, farmers, yes, soldiers, peace, land, food, then war with Japan, World War #1, food shortage. Those small things you write. Those are all points. Okay, those are all keywords. So using those small points, now you have everything written. So you will have random thoughts, right? This is called brainstorming. So everything you remember about Russian Revolution, you write it. It will take 3-4 minutes. It will take 3-4 minutes maybe. Relax and write it. After that, you decide what is the reasons for Russian Revolution. For example, I'm just telling you an example. After that, you extract, okay, World War number 1, okay, we wrote that's the reason, okay. War with Japan, that's the reason, okay, right? And food shortage, that's the reason. V.I. Lenin, that is not a reason. Kerensky, that is not a reason. October Revolution, March Revolution, if you wrote, those are not reasons. Those are the revolution itself. So like that, you will be able to easily extract the points that you are planning to write. So spend 3 to 5 minutes on planning if you have problems writing essay questions. Once you have planned, Pute, writing takes only 7-8 minutes. Writing will take only less than 10 minutes. That is your victory there. Okay? Because when you have planned, you know what you are going to write. Some students, they jump before the gun. Okay? Like, jumping before the gun, right? When you're running a race, sometimes before the gunshot is heard, they run. Okay? Oh, මේ සිංහලෙන් මේකට ලස්සන නමක් කියනවා. සිංහලෙන් මේකට කියනවා ගොනාට ඉස්සලා කරත්තේ. Okay, ගොනාට ඉස්සලා කරත්තේ means the cart before the cow. You put the cart in the front of the cow. The cow is not pushing, cow is pulling, right? Or the bull is pulling the cart, right? So ගොනාට ඉස්සලා කරත්තේ දාන්න එපා. Right? Okay. You got to relax. You got to plan before you write. You got to know what you are going to write. When you panic, you start writing. You start writing out of panic. Because you don't know what you are writing. You feel like you will forget. This is the feeling, right? I have passed your age, right? Yeah. I was 17 years old 20 years ago. Okay, like you. Right. So what you like when you panic, you feel like you will forget everything. You start writing. Then after writing a few words, you forget everything and you don't know what to write because you have not planned it, and you forget what you remember also. Has this happened to you during your Sinhala or English essay writing? Yeah, you have changed your topics after that. Yeah. Has this happened? Can I see hands? Yeah, let's be frank. Yeah. Like you start writing, but then you realize you start writing out of panic that you don't know, you will forget, you are scared that you will forget, you feel overconfident that you can write everything, but then you realize, okay, I don't have enough points and I got to change the topic now. I think I might have more points on the other topic. Okay, this is very common. Okay, you are not alone if you have done this. So if you have committed mistakes like this is human nature. So like I said before at the beginning of this session, stay composed, relax, take a deep breath. When you see the question, relax, just have the confidence that you got to write this. Okay, when you are choosing the question, you have 10 minutes extra to choose the questions, right? Choosing the question, choose wisely. And when you are focused on the essay type questions, you got to take your time and plan it before you write, because you got to know what points you're going to cover. Otherwise you're going to write garbage, you're going to write some rubbish which makes no sense. We don't want that to happen. So if you choose the questions, choose it wisely first, and when you are writing, plan it properly next. And if you are feeling still lost, change the question. Okay, don't stick to the questions that you chose. If you feel confident about another question, just cross it out and then go to the next question. Try comb in the paper for a better question that you can answer. Okay, yeah, have that confidence. See you tomorrow morning at 8:30. Take care. Bye bye. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Good night, Uday.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night.
See you tomorrow.